Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com, and welcome back to the EVG Uncensored channel, where I share my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on life, not necessarily related to veganism. And today's video is a user-submitted topic. User-submitted. That sounds so sterile or something. I should say community member. I like the word community a lot. And this is somebody that I personally know, but I'm going to keep her name anonymous as she asked it to be. And I just want to remind any of you watching that I love it when you suggest topics. It's hard for me to keep track of them when you just suggest them in a comment. So if you email them to me, that's usually the best way to do it. And my email is whitney@ecovegangal.com. And sometimes, well, actually, I should say most of the time, I feel really overwhelmed by emails, so I don't respond to them very frequently. It's much easier for me to address them through a video, but I do read every single email I receive in that inbox. So I just want to let you know that I absorb things. In fact, quick little tangent right here. I had a tough day today because I'm doing a lot of different projects, and sometimes I feel a lot of pressure to socialize and to respond to people. I get a lot of requests from so many different angles just because I'm in so many different places, and there's a lot being asked of me right now, and sometimes I find it incredibly overwhelming. And I started writing about it and how I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't realize that I'm an introvert. They think that I'm an extrovert because I do videos and I like to socialize, but I actually get really drained when I'm around people, and I also get really drained and overwhelmed with a lot of messages. I really like to read them, but the idea of responding to them is really challenging for me. And it's so tough because I'm afraid that people are going to perceive me as rude for not responding. And I don't really know how to effectively get the word out about myself in that sense, because I want to respond to people. It's just like really tough for me. So I think I've said this before in these videos, but I want to reiterate it because it weighs pretty heavy on me. And I want you to know how much I care about you and how much I really read whatever you write me, even if I don't respond to it. And I love getting emails, especially emails like this one today. So this woman, I'll give her gender, lives in a busy city, and she said she's starting over in a million ways after healing from long-term illness, which is really exciting. I just want to give her a shout out for a congratulations, really, for recovering. I know how long she's been working through this and the challenges she's faced, and it's just amazing to hear that she's healing. And she said there's a group of girls that she really wants to be friends with, and they're affiliated with the same church. They all get along really well. Her boyfriend and their boyfriends hit it off well too. However, they don't invite her anywhere, and she knows that anytime she wants to do something, she's always the one asking if she can join in. And they'll say a lot of things like, "Oh, we're busy," but they're busy together, so she feels left out there. And then she started talking to some other people who said that they've experienced with them too. Then she went on to say that she's never been socially rejected, quote unquotes, by women. She's been rejected in dating, sure, but that's about it. Being rejected by women or wanting to be a part of a community and not being invited to things is so deeply hurtful. This experience had made her more compassionate for other women, and it has made her not want to hang around these women anymore. She doesn't want to be part of the popular crowd at her age. She just wants to embrace people and be embraced by people who are open and diverse and non-judgmental and not part of an adult clique. If she wants to be part of a friendship where she's welcoming everyone in and not excluding people if they aren't cool enough or aren't like them in their beliefs or whatnot. However, she's feeling really upset because she wants to be part of their social circle, and she's starting to wonder why. Why would she want to be part of a social circle that excludes others? Okay, well, there's so many different things to talk about in this sense. First of all, I think we can all relate to that in one way or another. I don't know if I have felt socially rejected in a while. I definitely was in high school and middle school for sure. I had a really challenging situation. I think I was in 8th grade where something happened with my best friend and another good friend, and they actually got everybody to turn against me. So I had no friends. It was horrible. And I made one other friend, and we were friends for a while. And then my best friend came back into my life, and we're friends again to this day. But I don't know how long I was kind of ostracized, but it felt like an eternity. And I was so deeply hurt. And I remember trying so hard to repair things and to get back into this little clique, and just feeling so judged. There's this really strong memory I have of being invited to a party. I don't know if they just felt guilty or something. And I went to this party and just felt like such an outsider, and that everybody was judging me, and nobody really wanted me there. And it was just, it's heartbreaking just to think about. Those scars are so, so deep. And I wonder if this is a trigger for us as adults. I'm sure if this were to happen to me again, that it would still really hurt, maybe because of how much it hurt in the past, because it never quite heals. And as humans, we want to be part of groups so much. We want to be accepted. I talk a lot about this with my own struggles, is that I have issues with not feeling good enough, or with wanting to please people. Just as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I feel a lot of pressure to reply to people and to make other people feel comfortable, even if it makes me feel uncomfortable, because deep down there's this fear that they're going to reject me if I don't do it their way, or that, I guess it's all just a feeling of rejection that we try to avoid so much. And the tricky thing with fear of rejection is that it can really get in our way of being our true selves, of really doing what we want when we work too hard to please other people. And I think that's one of life's greatest lessons, and one of my personal missions in life is to focus on who I am and what I want, and prioritize that. I had to do that today. I was supposed to meet up with some friends tonight, and we had this plan for a week. And I had this massive anxiety, not massive actually, relatively intense moment of anxiety and depression. And I canceled, and it was last minute, and I said, you know what? I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. I'm not going to make it tonight. I'm so sorry. And I still kind of feel left out, because seeing pictures and videos of them hanging out and having a great time. And I also am concerned that they're upset with me on some level because I didn't go. However, for me right now, it's so important for me to put myself first, to prioritize myself first. And my needs come above anybody else's needs, right? It's like the classic airplane rule, you put the mask on yourself first before you give a mask to somebody else. You have to prioritize. And let me clarify, if the airplane's going down, the oxygen mask is what I meant to say. I think that prioritizing ourselves, and not in a selfish way, but knowing that we have to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of other people. And this idea that we get usually sometime as we're developing and in our teens, that we have to change ourselves or put other people in front of ourselves in order to be accepted by them. And I think that is at a root of so much that gets in so many people's ways in so many different aspects of our lives. We're so afraid of offending people. We're afraid of hurting people. We're afraid of disappointing people. And we carry around this weight and feel like we're just having to adapt to something. But in the case of being accepted by other people, I think that what was said in this email is so key, is not wanting to have to change yourself or to be a certain way, not wanting to feel judged or feel like you're excluded or exclude anybody else from your circle. It's so key, right? And I think that you have to remember that if somebody doesn't want you in their lives, why do you want them in your life? I think sometimes we hang on and we clutch to this idea of wanting someone so badly, but relationships of any kind don't really work if both parties aren't mutually invested and interested in one another. If somebody is not interested, yes, it can hurt, but ultimately, why would you fight for that? That person has to change their mind. You're not in control of it. So trying to change yourself, trying to be a certain way in order for people to accept you or invite you in or stop rejecting you, long term, you're not going to want to sustain those changes because that's not your true self. And why do you want to change yourself just to please somebody else? If that's the only reason they accept you, you're living a lie and you're not in full alignment and they're not accepting you for the right reasons. So I know it sounds more logical than it actually feels in these situations. It's easier said than done. When people reject us, it just hurts. And I think this is such a great opportunity to just focus on why it hurts. Is this bringing up some sort of old trigger for you? Do you feel like you're not good enough? That could easily be something. I know that that's often the case for me, is if I'm rejected in any way, I often have to sit and say, okay, right now I'm not feeling good enough. Right now I feel like this is a sign that I'm not good enough. How can I remind myself that I am good enough? How can I remind myself that I am valuable and important and that not everybody is going to accept me? You know, I deal with this on almost a daily basis on YouTube especially, and no matter what I do, somebody gives my videos a thumbs down. I mean, that's just the way it is on YouTube, and it feels like this rejection all the time because I work so hard, and it's like, oh, like somebody doesn't like my work or they don't like me. And it's so challenging. And that's just true of socialization. I don't know where we get it in our head in times of our lives where we think that somehow we can please everyone, or we have this false idea of that. Where that comes from, I just don't know. But I think that it's almost a gift, because if everybody accepted us, we would feel so overwhelmed by how many people were in our lives. I think you can look at this as a gift where these people are telling you, A, they're not your people, because if they were your people, they would be accepting of you. But B, it's a relief because now you have less people in your life. And there's so many different quotes about how you should be able to count your friends on one hand or something, right? And maybe not literally, but the point is you don't need that many friends in your life. In fact, many of us can have extraordinary lives and feel extraordinarily supported with just one or two friends. And that could also include a significant other. So I feel like when you cut down to that need versus the desire, it's super important. And I think ultimately it's just triggering something from your past. It's triggering these feelings of rejections, not being good enough, being ostracized. And that's probably more the issue than these actual women are. I bet if you really step back to think about it, these specific women don't mean that much to you. It's not what they're doing or who they are. And, you know, you've kind of hinted towards that through parts of this email, and it sounds like you haven't even outlined any parts of them that matter to you. If you had been writing to me and said, well, you know, I love that they do this and I love that they do that and they dress this way and they talk this way and they do these things and all of that, had you gone on and on about how incredible these women were, I might say, all right, maybe there's some missing piece and element, and they're missing something about you, or I don't know, it might be worth that fight, but you didn't focus at all on that. You were so focused on the feeling of rejection. And that's why, to me, it seems like this has more to do with rejection than these specific women. I think it's also tough, as I've kind of hinted at a little bit here, is we often feel like we have to act a certain way, and we want everybody to like us, and we just have that strong desire. So when somebody doesn't like us, we feel like something's wrong, or we're doing something wrong, and there's all of these things kind of not working well, and we want to fix it. And I think, again, this is such a good opportunity to really focus in on just letting things be sometimes. Just being okay that there are some people that just don't want to be friends with you. If you can be okay with that, you're doing yourself a big service because it's not going to weigh on your heart. You're just kind of letting it flow through and saying, okay, I can be cordial to these people. They can be acquaintances. I'll see them at church. I'll say hi to them, but I don't need to hang out with them outside of church. If once you let go of people that are not serving you and are not going to be an important element in your life, you open up the door for other people to come in that are right for you. And that's so true with relationships too, like significant other relationships. So whether it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend or, whoever it is and what role they play in your life, if you're so focused on someone that's not right for you and trying to make that work and it's not working no matter what you do, you're kind of closed off to letting in somebody or multiple people that might be better served for you because there's no room for them in your life. You're so focused on this other issue. And when you kind of let that go and just say, all right, I've tried my best, this isn't working, I'm done, then suddenly your heart is open, you have more time, you have more energy to allow the right people into your life. And maybe they're just right around the corner, ready and waiting. Maybe there are some fantastic friends. Maybe there are people in your life already who you could devote more time to. And I think that's so important to examine as well, is there anybody else in your life who's not getting enough of your attention, but really, really wants it from you? Focus on them. You said you had a boyfriend. These women, it's like, put that energy towards this amazing boyfriend that you have. Put the energy towards other great friends that you have and other projects you have and meeting new people. And I bet you would be so much more fulfilled and satisfied with those people that welcome you with open arms, that accept you, all of these qualities that you've been talking about. You say that you want to be embraced, you want to embrace other people, you want diversity and non-judgment, you don't want cliques. That is exactly where your energy should be going. People tell me this all the time. It's like when I feel these moments of depression over those silly thumbs downs I get, ultimately, it's like I'll get one thumbs down and like 200 thumbs ups. And suddenly my energy is so focused on that one tiny percentage. It's like 0.5%. But what about the whole rest of this? That 99.5% that I could be focusing on and helping those people, appreciating those people, giving those people more of myself versus trying to figure out why that 0.5% does not like me or what I do. That's just not worth it. And I think if we just continue to apply this more to our friendships, to every single relationship in our life, and nurture our own relationships with ourselves, appreciate ourselves, love ourselves, respect ourselves, honor ourselves, we can do so much more for ourselves and for other people, healing those old wounds of the past. I always think that it's such a great gift when those wounds are reopened because we have a chance to heal them even more than we have in the past. So take some time to figure out where this hurt is coming from. Take the time to love yourself, and then take the time to give your energy to the people that love you. And I think that's how you're ultimately going to get through these challenges here. I hope that helps you. You know who you are. And anyone else watching, please let me know in a comment if this resonates with you. More importantly, additionally, or instead of perhaps, if this doesn't resonate with you right now, perhaps you've had a similar experience that you've recovered from, and I would love to hear what your experience was and how you healed through it, or any further wisdom that you might offer, another perspective to this scenario. I would love you to join the conversation. Please leave a comment. If you see a comment from somebody else that you agree with, you can give it a thumbs up. You can also reply to it and continue the conversation. You are within a community here. You are so supported by me and everyone else, so please continue the conversation amongst yourselves. I'll be reading every single one of them, even if I don't respond. I'm sending you so much love and gratitude for being here today. Please send me a private message, whether it's on my email or on Facebook, or it could be Twitter. There's so many different ways to reach me. Instagram, private message, Snapchat, private message. All the links are down below to the different ways to reach me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love your requests for content. That's what inspires me to create these videos. And I will see you next time. I've had this pattern of putting up these videos late on quote unquote Sunday, but technically it's early on Monday. So that's when you can kind of expect them. It is almost 3 a.m. Pacific time, so almost 6 a.m. Eastern time on Monday morning. But that's just when the flow happens with these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week, and I can't wait to hear your comments.